Oh, hi. If you're listening on podcast, you will not know that I am holding the most beautiful puppy you've ever seen. Yeah,
So
this is Peppa.
hey,
And
Peppa.
she's a new member of our family and we're already madly in love with her. We only got her on Sunday and we love her so much we can't bear it.
She's like a micro Chi-Chi.
Yeah, she's just gorgeous. And
Not that she could ever replace Chi-Chi.
she's so lovely.
She's already licked my nose. I love it.
So if you want to see our gorgeous little puppy, go over to YouTube and you can see her on this podcast, or our Vlogmas started on Monday. So that's our chaotic, bonkers, crazy Christmas reality show. And she makes an appearance in number 1. And it goes out every day of December. And she say hello. Every day of December right up to Christmas. She loves us and we love her, and we just couldn't imagine life without her now, could we? Huh?
I love you too, Toffs.
And Toffee, our other dog, has been brilliant with her. So
Yeah.
there she is, Peppa. Our
I'm
beautiful baby.
I'm calling her Pepperami.
Pepperami. I'm going to go and put her somewhere else now so she can play and sleep.
Don't come
Darling. So, hello and welcome to How to Stay Married So Far. I've just seen Mark doing something. What are you doing?
Every time I see who you've just seen, Pepper, or whenever anyone sees Pepper, and
What are you going
it makes me want to do this.
Oh, Mark! I can't believe you just did that.
It's like my cute paddle.
But you're going to deafen yourself or something. Do not do that
Every
again.
time I see her, it makes me want to. Well, it's either that or thrusting my head on a sharp spike.
No. Put it down.
I pick
It's
her up,
called
I kiss her.
cuteness aggression. No, put it down,
Oh,
Mark.
my
Because
ears
who's
ringing.
going to be listening to you moaning about your ears for the whole of December, or your neck that you've pulled out? Every Christmas you get some sort of an injury.
I've already got that injury. Vlogmas 1. You'll have seen it by now. Okay, welcome to How to Stay Married So Far. Oh my God, I've literally got a ringing in my ears. Just got to do that. How are you?
Shocked that you're hitting yourself over the head with a pizza wheel, but there we go.
At least I'm not shitting myself with whatever you were going to say. I'm shocked that
You
you're
look
shitting it.
so dark, I can hardly see you.
Don't worry, it's because you've got
Is there
so
a
many
light?
lights on you.
He's trying to help my age.
Well, no, she just hasn't stopped banging on about the same lights that were brought in for her cooking and something. Have all the lights you want.
Well, I can't see you.
Well, that's
So,
fine.
I don't know if that's
I
gonna
can
work.
see me.
All right.
I
go
can
on
see
then.
you. So, what are we talking about today?
I don't know. You said to me you've got a topic that I was going to be really excited about. So tell me what it is.
You're always saying you want to do, or you feel you should have done more about the menopause. I mean, you've done a lot about the menopause, but I think you should do, you know, it speaks to a woman of a certain age. It's your loose woman demographic. I think the menopause is so shrouded in mystery, but at the same time, it's almost, I think, falling foul of that thing that wrongly ADHD has fallen foul of, which is because if anything gets picked up by the media too much, it almost loses its kind of the strength of what needs to be said about it. So people sort of ignore it. So I thought we'd go back to menopause. I feel like it's been done to death, and everyone feels it's been done to death. And I thought we could go back to menopause. Anyway, this is a piece that I saw in the HuffPost, and it's titled "A Sexologist's." You've now just changed your shot by leaning to the right.
Sorry, I've gone back now.
Completely. That wasn't the shot. So when
You
you
know
asked
why?
me, do I like
because
the shot?
I can see 2 massive rings of light in my glasses, which
Yeah.
I'm worrying is distracting.
Okay, well, go to where you are not
Whereas-
good at.
That's where you can't see it.
Okay, does the shot need to pan across a little bit, perhaps?
If I can pan across. Okay, if I go here and I don't move, well, let them. Listen, you understand. There's lights here, so you're going to see me.
It was a last-minute setup in here. We
Yeah.
were going to do it on the sofas, but anyway, we can't now. So this is a sexologist, 7 rules for great sex during and after the
Oh
menopause.
God!
What?
Right.
Why'd you say "oh God" like that?
And who is this written for? Women or men?
Well, it's written by a woman called Amy Glover,
Okay.
and it claims to be a piece that discusses how the experts recommend handling the change.
The change.
The change. I mean, we jokingly would refer to it as man on pause. It's like the menopause
Yeah.
is you put your man on pause and put him in a corner and tell him to shut up and fuck off. Part of me wonders also whether, this could feed into the whole idea this week. Was it on Coffee Moaning we did it? The topic of women who are leaving their men? Or did we do that as a podcast?
Yeah, walk away women.
Silver splitters.
Silver splitters, having the time of their life, not having to fend
Yes.
for their fellas' feelings, needs, miseries. Men settle down more at that age. Women nowadays are wanting to set themselves free.
Yeah. Apparently did you know there are 62 symptoms linked to
There's
the
more than
menopause?
There's more than that.
How can you limit it to a set number of things?
Because there's more than that anyway, because we've done this a lot on Loose Women. But still what's astonishing is that in all the medical schools, you can choose whether to learn about
It's remarkable, isn't it?
menopause or not. When you think 50% of the population are going to go through the menopause, it's totally extraordinary that it's either something you decide you want to learn about or not. And that's why so many women, when they go to the doctors, don't get any real understanding.
Or help. No. And the other part of it that I think is something that even as I read it this morning, I thought, wow, that is interesting to kind of bear that in mind. The menopausal process can last for decades.
Yeah.
Isn't the menopausal process from the moment you're perimenopausal through to death?
Once you're in menopause, you're
Yes.
through a door that you were always in. So you're always in menopause because your periods have stopped.
Exactly.
That's what menopause means.
Right.
So once you haven't had a period, I can't remember exactly, but I think it's for 2 years. That means you are through into menopause, and that will be the case forever.
I mean, and we're not talking about it here, but there's also the idea that, men obviously go through their own hormonal changes too. So it's not as overt, it's not as obvious, but it's there. And some kind of observers and commentators say that perhaps the reason there are statistics such as the the highest number of people who commit suicide or category is men over a certain age. You could begin to ask questions like, okay, well maybe the symptom of male menopause is suicide. Do you know what I mean? Mental health crisis. You know what I mean? I'm just saying it.
But I think the age is much lower, those
Right,
rates. But certainly there are a lot of men that need testosterone
Right.
that would never think about getting tested.
Right.
So maybe there is more to be done about, testosterone for men.
Okay, well, this journalist has spoken to a sexologist, a relationship therapist, and author called Sophie Ruse. And the discussion is to see how you can establish a healthy sex life during and after the menopause. And so she has 7 rules of what to kind of observe and do. So I just thought this might be absolutely useful, because I think we did a menopause chat, very honest one, years ago, where I think I talked about it being the only moment in our relationship where I seriously considered, from my perspective, divorce, because I just thought, I don't see how we're ever going to build
Was that the one
bridges
that
here.
Davina listened to and
I think it
loved
might
and
be.
contacted us? Yeah, I think it was.
I mean, it just, the disconnect seems so profound. The obviously Nadia was going through hell, but the sort of the spikes of irrationality and what felt at the time to the kind of uninitiated was, oh my God, this is just such a sudden game changer. Everything seems so different. And I think that's one of the problems for men and women of the menopause is there's no great big sign that goes, you're entering it now, so be prepared.
Yeah, loads of people don't even, I didn't know I was entering it, so absolutely, creeps up on you.
Right.
And the symptoms can start, very gradually and much younger than people know. And that's why it is good to be informed about it, because you might want to start HRT in your perimenopause, not your menopause.
Right.
Because, there's a lot of research out there about everything benefiting from you taking it earlier, like brain and bones and bone density and all that stuff. So I was 8 years into my menopause when I started taking HRT.
Wow.
I was 8 years in.
And HRT has changed over the years, hasn't it? I mean, it used to be something that was very...
Yeah, it used to be made out of horse piss hormone.
Wow.
And now it's bioidentical, but there's different kinds still.
Right.
But, what is it? I think it's papaya. I think it's made from papaya.
Oh, right, okay. Which you find smells of dandruff. Or tastes of dandruff, I think. I love papaya, but you don't like papaya. Nadia said, let's just go off a tangent if we do. And I thought, let's go on a papaya tangent.
Let's do that.
Yeah?
Go on then, give me your first hitter.
Okay, so here are the 7 rules for maintaining or heightening or making your sex life healthier.
Rules, girls.
So number 1, just accept that there will be changes to your lust levels. She says, during and after the menopause, your lust tends to change. Some people get less interested in sex, while others may develop a stronger desire.
Well, Colleen Nolan, she's gone completely mad with her. She was talking about this on Loose Women.
What, mad for sex?
Mad for it.
Wow.
Because testosterone is the one that you really need. Well, you need all of them, but testosterone is more of the sex drive and energy. And some women lose all of it, some lose some of it, and some increases against the estrogen. And
right.
She's one of those. It doesn't necessarily last forever, but she's like, what's going on?
Oh, wow.
How come I'm in menopause and I'm like looking at everything that moves?
Wow. And I was going to say, is that like a drive? Can it drive a sort of lust that's not?
You always ask this. It's not like ecstasy. You're not going to start wanting sex with people that you don't like. Well, you just said you want...
Oh, well, that's what I wondered. Whether, it's like... I remember my nan taking an antidepressant, and one of the side effects was that you suddenly found everything very attractive. And she suddenly was like, oh, and this man delivered this. He was lovely. He was like... And I just wondered whether it was a little bit of that.
No, it would that... Well, I don't know. Again, every single person is so different. You can't... I don't think there's a hard and fast rule. But what I would say is, if you were in a marriage where you've gone off sex in your, around your menopause, and you actually really, really don't like your husband, and you're not communicating, and you've got loads and loads of problems, you ain't going to take testosterone and suddenly fancy your husband again, like you've taken some sort of like illicit drug. It's not that. It's not going to make you fancy someone you don't fancy, basically.
Christ almighty. But can the menopause make you suddenly not fancy your partner?
Well, it's not necessarily that you don't fancy your partner, but you've got to understand that testosterone is needed for sex drive.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand that with women.
So, if you were to lose all your testosterone now, you would not have a sex drive.
Wow, that hasn't happened, has it?
So, and why men's decreases as they get older, their sex drive. Not all, some men increases. Will be because of the decrease of testosterone.
Right.
So people always like separating and go, well, does that mean you never fancy? Or does that mean you never like sex? No, at different points in your life, you have hormones, and women are much more victim of the hormones because every day they're just changing and shifting.
Would you say your drive has gone up and down in the past?
Well, of course, yeah. I think everybody's does, right? Like depression, worry about money, children. And I think this is a massive problem, is that we live in this world where it's supposed to be everybody's having great sex all the time and everything's all perfect, everything's all wonderful. And with that, I think that men are often expected to always be wanting sex and women not. And there's plenty of men that have lower sex drives, and that is totally fine. But it's about compatibility, isn't it? It's like, some people don't have sex at all in their marriage and their marriage works just fine. But if you're in a marriage where one person likes it and the other person doesn't, that's a disaster. So
it's really hard though, that one, isn't it? Because I think it's at the menopause point that dilemma for many relationships kicks in. And when you start to talk about how attraction to someone is a hormonal thing versus... It's not. No, hang on, let me finish the thought.
Not the attraction.
No. Well, not the attraction.
No, not at all, the attraction. That's my point. Attraction has to be there. Sex drive, you need these different hormones going. So I'm not gonna, if I had lost attraction to you, me taking testosterone is not gonna make me attracted to you. Do you see what I mean?
Right. Okay.
But maybe that's a difficult thing for men to understand.
I think it is.
Sex drive is just sex drive. Whereas me, sex and what I feel about a person are connected.
Yeah, I think what complicates that is in many relationships, many people, I know many people who can describe how they've got over a long period of time, they find their partner less and less attractive, both in terms of getting older, or perhaps one half of the couple doesn't look after themselves in the way that, so...
That's not going to fix that. Testosterone is not going to fix that.
Right.
That's what I would say.
Okay, it's not a magic bullet, silver bullet. Okay, number 2, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to just go straight in there. Lube is your BFF.
Well, if you are somebody that is completely depleted of estrogen,
Right.
not all women go like this, but some women will suffer really badly with dryness.
Yes.
And it can be so bad where it's the atrophy of the vagina. Well, it's bad. And it's
atrophy.
It's horrendous. Like, you could
oh my God,
literally not be able to walk, with
God.
bleeding and pain, riding by, anything like that. So the thought of even sex is like, will not happen, because estrogen lubricates everything, the joints, the vagina, everything. And so this is something that I'm just so passionate about. If you don't want to take HRT, right, and you are really suffering with that, then you can take estrogen vaginal gel. Again, we were talking about this on Loose Women the other day. And even women up to their 90s. Now the problem with dryness outside of sex is that you can get multiple UTIs,
right.
and as you get older, you can get sepsis from those UTIs.
Oh God.
Honestly, it's
mind fuck.
So if you're really suffering with dryness, go to your pharmacist if you don't got a doctor, and you can get. Or I think you have to go. No, I think you just get it from your pharmacist.
Over the counter.
Yeah, follow the Fabulous Pharmacist on Instagram. She's amazing, and she says every woman in their coffin should have estrogen gel up their vagina.
In their coffin?
Yeah, meaning all through their old age they should be using.
Oh, I see.
Don't mean put them in the coffin then put it.
I was going to say.
Meaning that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you can even use that if you've had breast cancer, because it doesn't go into your body. It's just going into just that area and nourishes it and lubricates it.
Why does the word lube always make people sort of either firstly giggle and then snigger, and then there's kind of a sort of thought that somehow a failure of some form has happened?
I think that's what it's. I think it's an attached to failure, and the thing is, not everybody can, get what's the word?
Moist.
No, we weren't going to use that ever.
I just thought I'd throw it in there.
And it doesn't mean that they don't fancy that person or they're not turned on. So people can have a time where they need some extra help. And there's no shame in that. But I think also the connotations of lube are doing other things, aren't they?
Well, like what? The washing up?
No.
Cleaning the windows?
Up the bumper.
I wasn't even thinking about that, Nadia Sawalha.
That's why people say lube. They go, oh God.
Yes. And also, bear in mind, if you drop it on the floor, you can slip on it and hurt yourself, so be careful.
And break your nose like my friend Lee did.
Yeah, there you go. Just briefly on that.
True story. Look it up on the Mail Online. Lee Peart, lube, broken nose.
I think it has to come up on their drinking podcast. It's interesting, though, because I think that there is an equivalence for men, because I think even, the idea that you might not be able to perform for men is the same in terms of if you get it hard enough and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't mean you're not sexually attracted to someone. Doesn't mean you're not sexually aroused. They're just, I suppose, Viagra is the equivalent, is the reverse equivalent for men, maybe.
But it's pressure.
Yeah, pressure
can put you
under pressure.
We are sensitive.
We're all under pressure.
We're human beings with all these other things going on. And if you are somebody that can just totally separate your mind and just get your end away and just have a great time, good for you. But if you're not, if that's all connected up, then, things can very easily go astray.
Have you ever needed to use the old lube?
No. I'm lucky with that.
Yeah.
I'm really lucky because I know that that's a big suffering for a lot of women in menopause. And it just breaks my heart because you don't need to.
And I think the next tip, number 3, it could actually help with that in some small part. I don't mean totally, because I think the dryness that's solving issue 2 isn't about this, but her third tip is basically take more time to warm up. Some researchers suggest that menopause may mean some people take longer to get going, which could account for what you're saying there. It might just take longer for it. Sorry, I didn't know what to say.
All right. Don't say anything.
To get the juices flowing.
Oh God.
You know what I mean. To get going in the bedroom. This means that you should invest more time in floor play.
Well, it's all very well when somebody is sat there writing this down.
Yeah, but I think
if you know, but you're exhausted, you're menopause, your estrogen is down, you're fucked off with your husband.
You've dropped
That
the lube
actually
on the
a
floor.
lot of women would say, "Oh my God, more foreplay." You know, so it's like we've said many times in other different guises in the podcast. What is foreplay, right? What is it? It is, we can think of traditional sexual foreplay, but foreplay is all day. How am I being treated? Am I being kindly treated? Am I being cherished? Are you just doing something without me knowing? Are you just like, are you being of service? Both ways. This isn't just for a woman.
Yeah.
This is both ways. Am I kind? Did I make them a cup of tea? Did I cook them a nice meal? Both ways.
Did you get them a door put in?
Both ways. You know, what am I doing to serve? And when I say serve, of course I don't mean in a servitude way.
No.
I mean equally, 50-50. What am I doing that supports this person, that reminds this person that they're worthy, that they are cherished, that I like them, you know, and again, both ways. That is foreplay. And that kind of foreplay is what needs to be increased massively at times when...
Non-sexual.
Or the non-sexual times. Foreplay, where you're tickling each other's bits and doing whatever, is a kind of foreplay that you can extend when you're in a good place of your relationship.
Yes.
But I'm telling you now,
Right.
you speak to most women of my age, they go, well, what you need to do is give more foreplay. They'll be like, bleh. Not when I'm so distanced from them.
You're adopting more of your sisters. You just did a vomit.
No, but this is how women think.
It's all right.
Don't bring up a menopause bloody subject if you don't want me to tell the people.
I felt you were a little bit.
truth.
Were you a little aggrieved that I brought up a menopause? Did you
No,
think
it's
here
good.
he goes?
It's good.
All right. Okay. Yeah, because one of the things it says here is try a sensual massage, and that for me, I do think
You have to be on
for the vast
such a good
majority of
level.
people, yeah. If I was to turn to, I mean, even us, and we're often on a good level, but if I was to say to you, "Do you fancy a massage?" You'll often just go, "Do you know what? No."
Right, okay, so a sensual massage. What is a sensual massage? I'm going to tell you what a sensual massage is.
A penis
for
in the
somebody when you are distanced, when you know the
that can be
sex isn't
sensual.
working. Do you ever like bring over a cup of tea and a biscuit and maybe just get a foot and just rub it a bit without then moving it immediately on to sex?
I was just making
This is what happens. This is why so many people don't want a massage, because you don't really want to give me a massage, you just want to have sex. So it's about doing it and then moving away. So like maybe rub her feet, maybe rub her neck and then move away. Say, I just want to give your neck a rub for I've just got 5 minutes before I'm going off to do something else, so that she knows that actually you want to give her a massage. And this isn't you giving her a massage so you can then have sex.
Well, I was going to say...
This is really practical advice.
It is practical, and it's incredibly useful too, because, I mean, I would say from my perspective, if you only ever offer a sensual massage in the bedroom, upstairs, later, you're only attaching it to the inevitability of sex. So I think you're absolutely right. I think lying on the sofa, watching TV, whatever, and that massage thing creeps in, that's much... But also never... I think don't ask for it.
This is really good advice.
Yeah, no, it is.
If sex is not happening for the two of you, sit down on the sofa, take a foot, and do not, under any circumstances, move that towards sex. And then she will start to, there's the chance, and that doesn't mean, the next time I do it, I'm going to have sex. This is about patience, because so much of where sex is going wrong around this time and around this age is that all the patience is out the window. Oh, well, I've done that. Like, aren't we going to have sex now? Oh, well, that's what you've got to work on. So I thank you, psychologists. You're all wonderful. When you write it down, it's like, sounds perfect, but
it's shit.
Most people, if they are in a really barren time in their sex life and they've become so distant, saying have extra foreplay is not.
Well, I think you'd have to be deaf, dumb, and blind to not realise that if you are in a really barren place. I mean, I don't want to. Nadia said a couple of weeks ago in one of these that, oh God, I hope we don't sound like we're we've gone through.
I hope we don't sound like we're what?
We're kind of not showing off. It wasn't showing
smug.
off. Smug. Yeah. Thank you. We realise we work hard at our relationship. We have huge rows. We fall out. We disagree. We're still always, both of us individually, always grafting and trying to think of different ways and make sure that we get things right. We get things spectacularly wrong. Me, a lot more than that. It's just a fact. I just have to say that. And in that, you know, historically, if you go back through some of these podcasts, you'll see that we've gone through some really, really difficult times. And it's easy now to forget just how lonely, actually, for both partners, a moment of barrenness in a sexual sort of situation can be, you know, because there is often no communication going on. So the idea of a sensual massage is just completely, even I can see it's
distance.
It's
like,
Disneyland madness.
You having a fucking laugh?
Yes, Disneyland madness. And I think you have to in some fucking way get to just fill the dishwasher, make cups of tea. It has to be in a totally non-sensual sexual situation and build up and reconnect and understanding. And it's just you're right, it's just not that simple. But I do think
take the sulk out of it. If you start sulking, boys, it's the biggest turn off.
And I think the biggest mistake men make, and I'm guilty of this, I have been, I don't feel I am actually anymore, is the feeling that somehow you need a guarantee that something's going to happen. And I don't mean that in the literal horrible sense of, well, you know, there are men like that. I thought, and that can creep in. But I do think men are driven by the idea of some kind of guarantee somewhere.
I think what it is if you're not just a bastard because we're married and we're supposed to have sex, I think what it is that you're reaching for it to be validated that this person still loves you. So I remember saying to you many times in the past, it feels transactional. It feels like this is what you need for me to know that I love you. Well, that's not very loving to me if that's not the place that I'm in at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Whether that's breastfeeding, menopause, whatever. But time and again, men will say sex equals they are loved.
It's true.
And that's not how I show. Sex doesn't show I love. That's not my show of love. So like, if you think that if I have sex with you, I love you, that's not where I show love.
Okay, well, tip 4 is rediscover the joys of masturbation, vibrators, lube, and building pleasure for yourself over a longer time.
If you're having trouble with sex life and you get the lube and the bloody... No. You're going to go, fuck off. I am not fancying it at the moment. I'm not fancying you. If you start bringing machinery out...
No. This is on your own, not together. You know, it's like maybe if you're a woman who's maybe just head off into, but it kind of compartmentalises it.
Again, I think for some people, yes, like if you've lost touch with your own body and you just like you want, but for me, that is a real misunderstanding of where a lot of women are with menopause. Now, earlier you said that you made the joke about Dean, or you're doing your Dean. That is how Dean and now, that is, my sister doesn't want a man, she doesn't want, you know what I mean? When she responds like that, it's because that's how she feels. So how do we talk to those women? Because women that are already into, women that are going to go off and get their lube and get their, they don't need any help, they're fine.
True.
You know what I mean? It's the women that are shutting down that are going, no, it's just me and that's my life and it's past. And
that's as alien to them as anything intimacy with their partner, presumably, isn't it? Yeah. You
have to be pretty like okay with everything that's even if you're not fancying your partner, your sex drive is still there. I would say more realistically, if you've shut down a bit sexually, is to just take a bit more care time. Now, of course, it'd be wonderful for all of us to go to a spa or have a holiday. That's crazy because most people can't do that. But do you ever now lie in the bath and shave your legs and put, body cream on and do your nails and self-love rather than satisfying oneself sexually? And that's how you build back, like getting back in touch with your body, going for a walk and really noticing nature by yourself, thinking about yourself, maybe... or getting more in touch with you as an individual person, because what you've done for decades is look after other people. You have kids, shaving your legs goes out the window, all those things that you used to love to do for yourself, just like, what, God, I hardly ever need, lounge in the bath. I've got 4 kids coming in, or I've got whatever, and think back to what used to make you feel really nice before you would go out and before you go on a date, and like in your 20s or in your and try and do some of that, and nobody even needs to know that you're doing anything.
But also as a part of that, also in that self-care, a certain part of you will fall in love with yourself and also you'll become, you'll radiate something that's attractive in a different way to your partner, because most of these, let me just finish. Most of these ideas aren't just about complete breakdown. Presumably these ideas are in a relationship where both partners really strongly fancy each other. They're hitting a little bump in the road. They don't quite understand how to get past it. So yes, you're right, masturbating on your own and what have you, but maybe someone is quite sexual and they are feeling these changes, and it's disorientating and disturbing for them, and they want to get back to that place. Not like Dean, who it's a deal breaker, I don't want to know, that kind of thing. But actually, I want to somehow get back to that and get
well, that's what I'm talking about. But where the sentence that was really wrong there was, and then maybe you'll start radiating out. This isn't about radiating out. This is about radiating in, and then it may have the knock-on effect, but you don't want that in your head.
No, that's not your intention.
Your intention
Yes.
is to be kinder to yourself, to love yourself, to hug yourself.
Well, let me give you...
Maybe even just, God, just look at my hand, or just look at my skin, and just get back in touch with you without thinking about what you are, deemed to have to put out to be like.
No, I think I misspoke. What I meant by the radiating out, and that might be quite attractive, is I'm thinking, like, in terms of myself, but if I make the effort to shave and have my hair cut and get my eyebrows done and my nostril, all those bits that presumably when up close, if they were analysed, would be absolutely hideous, because I find them hideous. But if one's attending to those things for oneself, not for something else, but for oneself, it radiates out something that becomes more attractive and actually makes the whole relationship more conducive.
Well, that's my whole point. It's like she said, get masturbate and get the lube out and get the thing. I'm saying,
get your nostril hairs trimmed.
Don't do that unless that feels really comfortable for you. If that feels great. But if you are so far away from that, start by taking some real self-care. I really notice it when you don't do your eyebrows and you don't do your hair and you don't. I notice it so massively because it's such a lack of self-care, and it's really weird, because if ever I say to you, oh, that hair's really getting on you, just, I know, and it's that pushing away of self-care. So we all deserve it, men and women. We deserve that self-care because we do feel better for it.
But I think a lot of that stuff can happen because perhaps in some relationships one partner is closing off a little bit more or doesn't feel it needs to be done. And,
totally.
And it can be a symptom of I'm not saying that's why I don't do it, but it can be a symptom of not feeling attractive enough makes you become or not make an effort to be more attractive.
And as a general rule, women do look after themselves more than men.
Yeah.
It's like, it does make me laugh when you see these, these men going, oh God, look at the state of her. And you think, well, have you looked at the state of you? When did you last put some self-care in, Yeah. So
number 5, I think we're doing this, and we talk about this throughout our podcast, which is communicate with your partner.
All of this is irrelevant if you're not finding a way.
Yeah.
So what are the different ways you can find to communicate?
Yeah.
Stuff that we've spoken about in the past on these podcasts is, if it's got so distant and you can't even look at each other and talk to each other, maybe try a text, a note. Take out always, you make me feel, you make me do this, because the other person will be defensive. Always try and go with, I'm left feeling, or, I wish we could get back to, I wish. Try as much you can not to be like, you're a fucking bastard and you're doing my head in. I feel sad that we don't hold hands anymore. Maybe if we held hands more, sometimes when we're out, then that would lead to this and lead to that. And just try and break down that breakdown of communication.
I think one of the things that's very difficult, not just for men but for women too, but I think is when there's a breakdown, even if you try and make the best laid plans or try a different tack in acknowledgement, and if you get it wrong or if you say the wrong thing in the wrong way, sometimes, I don't know if this is a symptom of the menopause, but it sometimes feels like you can. What would you say to a man who feels they can't do right for doing wrong? Not in a poor me sort of way, but genuinely. Genuinely, look, okay, I've pivoted there, I've heard you there, I've tried that. Maybe I can't. At what point should he back off or just go, fucking hell, I can't, for the love of God, get this right?
Well, I would say this to any man or woman, more kindness. Right. Open your heart bigger. Do you want the argument? Do you want the fight with the gatekeeper, or do you want the grapes that are held?
But can I ask you a very personal question? Are there not times in menopausal hell, which is hell for you as women, where you can't access kindness?
I think that what happened with my own menopause was that you just got more annoyed and you got more reserved and you got more to take away. And I think if you'd been really kind of gone, oh my God, I can really see you're struggling, I think that would have been different.
But at the point that one knows
like we all do in a marriage, there'd be times when one is really suffering and the other one isn't. And the same with me. I'd say the same with me, with you. This isn't just about you. This is when you think about when we've been able to work things out better, it's always when we've been more open and more kind and not gone, what's this doing to me?
No, I agree. But I think one of the absolute bear traps that men fall into through, I think, through no fault of a lot of good men's, behaviour, I think, is I've always, all my life, wanted to know when around someone I love, a woman I care for, if they are menopause, if it's their time of the month or what have you, it's often met with kind of horror, aghast, insult and dismay if a bloke goes, oh, is it your time of the month? Knowing what a woman is going through, and if the woman knows but hasn't told the man that, a man trying to find out isn't a bad thing. They can't intuit everything. And I think I hear what you're saying about the menopause. The problem with the menopause is some people are years into a menopause before they've even acknowledged that they're in the menopause. So no one knows that it's a menopausal thing.
I mean, I'm not saying this is easy to do, but I think the general advice, whenever you see your partner struggling, if you really look at them without just looking at yourself, and you really look at them like, what could I do to help? You look like you're really struggling today. I can't give a different answer to that because you're right. Because if somebody is in, it's like, so the alternative would be, because we've both learned a lot and we both talk to each other in a different way now. The alternative with that would be like when you would fall into depression or bipolar low, and I would say to you, well, come on, let's just do this and do that. That didn't work for you because I didn't understand about depression.
No.
So I found out about it. And I'm very, very different, aren't I? Like I'll say to you, this looks like you might just want to be in your room and be alone, or this, I don't know, I feel like this might be one of those where it'd be better if we go out for a walk. And it's not about wanting to pin someone, because I think because men want to fix, they want to attach it to something, they want to pin it to something. Let go of the need to pin it to something. Totally just see the person. If she feels that you're really listening, and you really say, what can I do? Is it not what can I do? Is it any, you know what is lovely? What's really changing is this doesn't happen so much with the younger generation. I see this all the time on TikTok and Instagram and everything. These videos with these girls going, oh, I've got my period, I've just flooded everywhere and I'm just really pissed off and what I need is chocolate cake. And you see the guy going, right, I think I better go and get chocolate cake. I saw one the other day where this guy was helping her with her bloody, and I thought it's just changed. Like our girls just talk so openly and they know, and they'll say, I'm premenstrual and just don't. But I think men were a lot like in the dark because things weren't spoken about. So they were like,
I think it helps everyone when it's not sort of stigmatised and when it's not shrouded in mystery.
But men have got to stop going, yeah.
No, I agree. I've never gone, yeah. But I mean, I do think one of the other thing to bear in mind as well, not all men are nice, as we know, and not all women are nice.
Exactly.
And not all men and women are kind.
Why the advice is the same.
So consequently, you might have someone, your worst situation could be you're a kind man with a horrible woman who's going through the menopause, and is she still horrible? She's still fucking horrible. You're not going to. And so for you as a man, it's very hard for you to try and go, oh well, I'll be all understanding and kind. If when being understanding and kind, I'm still blamed as being responsible for this shit. I think that dynamic is irresolvable.
The thing is, it's like, imagine like when you're depressed, and I know a lot of our subs here suffer with depression and mental health stuff. So imagine like when you're depressed, which I used to say, which now I understand, sorry, I just got a tickle in my throat, where I would have said, well, what's it about? Well, what's happened? And you wouldn't be able to say.
Yes.
And that would be so confusing for me because I didn't understand because I'd never really even had a conversation about depression. Depression to me was just somebody being low, and somehow you've got to help them not be low. And then I realised it's beyond that. Well, that's what menopause is like.
Right,
So
right.
if you say, well, what's the matter with you? Well, you can't quantify it.
Yeah.
I understand why for the other person they want it quantified. I remember screaming at you one time actually and go, why don't you just go and read about it?
Yeah.
And actually, that is part of it. You have to go and if you're a man listening to this and you're struggling with your wife's menopause, well, you're already a good man because you're here listening to this. Go and find out about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Find out about
Top
it.
tip.
And that will mean the world to her. Oh, I read this article.
You sat down and said, I read this thing, or I saw this woman saying, or I saw this article about, or from what I've read, I think that this,
I was
this, and
listening
this.
to this woman and she was saying it was so hard. Empathy is everything in a relationship. It doesn't matter, man or woman, child or mother, father or son, whatever. If we try always to just put ourselves to one side and just really see a person and listen to them, it's everything. And it's really sexy. That's the other thing. If somebody, I said to you recently, didn't I? Often men will go, how come that person has pulled that bird? And I'll say, well, either they've got the trick and they're using it manipulatively where they really sit and listen, or they are somebody that really listens. Because actually so many women want to be really listened to. And they stop talking to their... I remember being in the cab once with this cab driver because, my wife doesn't want to have a drink with me on a weekend, but oh my God, she's got her friends around, she wants a drink. I said, yeah, but what you like when you have a drink with her? He was so shocked, he thought I was just going to go. And he went, what do you mean? I said, so like you have the first drink, and that's nice, and you're all chatty. What happens after a couple of drinks? And it was just like, because what happens with women when they have a couple of drinks, they talk more about themselves, they listen more about them. This poor cab driver, he didn't know where he was coming from. They listen more, they get deep, they're like, oh God, well maybe you could do this. They go into advice, they do all of that. Does that happen with your wife?
I love all that stuff.
If that doesn't, then that's why she's going to get drunk with her friends rather than getting drunk with you and having an argument.
There you go. I love all that getting gooey stuff. Number 6, try pelvic floor exercises. As important for men. I really recommend strengthening the pelvic floors. That helps manage many menopausal symptoms, including symptoms that are directly related to sex.
Well, here's the fact. If your pelvic floor goes to big baggy, you will lose intensity of orgasm. So you might think, oh my God, my orgasms used to be so good. That's an actual physical thing.
Wow.
So you do need to do your pelvic floor exercises.
Well, and men do too. I know it's a kind of, people don't talk about it as much. Men don't need to do
like 100 a day.
Yeah, 1,000. I've done 50 just
But do you do it
recording
right?
this. I don't know.
That's the thing.
Number 7, and finally, stay playful. Sounds obvious, but regarding sex, it needs to be fun. Fucking hell, all right. Switch the mindset of sex being something you need to perform to it instead being a moment of emotional and physical intimacy, playful and pleasure. Again,
Be playful in the day.
I was going to say,
be playful.
Nadia's
be
refrain
silly.
here is you cannot separate or hive off your sex life away from every other part of your relationship and how you've been throughout the day. Otherwise, it's like, what are we doing? We're scheduling it into our Google Planner.
Yeah, and do you have a bit of a giggle and are you silly? And sometimes when you're in the middle of a row, can you just stop and laugh about it? Playful.
Yes.
You're not miserable as sin with each other and moaning around and then go and be playful upstairs. It's like, no, fuck off. The last person I want to play with is you.
And on that note...